Hi, this is Kpop Notes and welcome back to my channel. As the temperature rises and we get to the middle of the year, summer feels closer and closer. This month was characterized by that feeling, as we already got to listen to songs perfect for a summer trip. However, different to previous years, this time the subdued feeling we've been getting since earlier in the year with the influence of 90s R&B was what prevailed in this tracks. I'm excited to listen how the rest of the summer will sound and which new offers they'll be presenting. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Releasing their highly anticipated first full album, Menow is the main single of it that manages to keep the group's familiar sound through a disco pop song that goes perfect with the chill mood of summer. Recently the group has received several critiques due to keeping a same sound reproduced over and over again during their last comebacks. However, I'd dare to say that's part of the group's journey in finding their own sound, especially as they're close to achieving their 6th year in this industry, and that can be heard in the melodic line of the song, which carries a strong sentimental charge. Compared to their previous release made around the same time of the year, in which by the hand of Stay This Way, the girls presented an upbeat and really bright track that expressed the effervescent and refreshing experience of love during summer, this time, not just sonically, but also lyrically speaking, it can be felt the growth. Despite sharing a same disco bass, this time, the message is different as they express the necessity of breaking with the version of themselves that is shown to everybody on a daily basis, a version that's been built in line with other people's expectations. So glamorous in my square box, I know. I'm showered with hearts. When I say the side of me you've never seen, what would be the look on your face? Throughout the song they express the insecure emotions that can be felt when showing your true self to the world, the fear of getting out of your comfort zone. However, they understand the importance of self-loving, of accepting who we are, and that being true to yourself is more important than all the worries you may have about others' opinions. Crossing the line I could almost reach. Fear no more. Look at me, no more guises. The truth. So because of the deeper meaning, the melody of it is more subdued, and despite sharing the same genre as their previous releases, the production of this is particularly different. You can really feel that high Pleiades influence, as the quality feels really improved, not that it was bad before, but somehow this time the song feels more refined, even expensive. This exceptional quality is something you can hear in the rest of the album, as production-wise, everything is outstanding. As a presentation card I wouldn't say that Menow does the best job at representing the content of the album itself. It does help maintain the connection between the title tracks. However, the album offers so much interesting approaches that also provide a variety of genres such as EDM, R&B, house, dance pop, UK garage, among others, keeping a more serious vibe overall as they continue expressing their self-confidence through different sounds and landscapes. If I'm honest, I couldn't be more satisfied with this comeback. It truly showed the group's colors by delivering a heartwarming message that just shows the growth they've had after all these years together. 9.7 out of 10. Unfortunately, the group's recent releases haven't been my cup of tea, and I honestly haven't been able to give a clear response to that. This time, unfortunately, and as much I wanted not to be, it wasn't the exception. My relation with the song is kind of bitter, to be honest. It has some interesting elements, and it's certainly addicting. However, I just don't know how to feel overall. If I were to define the group's sound, it wouldn't be noisy as many have pointed out, but rather it'd be strident. Having said that, this characteristic has been present since their debut days, with strong productions like Side Effects or Myro. However, and with all the respect they deserve as composers, I just feel like lately they've been delivering the same type of work with different fonts. If we make a quick summary, since God's Menu, most of their title tracks since then have had a certain song structure. They've mostly started with strong raps, followed by a melodic pre-chorus that ends up in a strident chorus mostly driven just by their voices, that has a second part which becomes more aggressive. In addition to that, they've also maintained the use of certain type of synths, especially the trumpet ones, and percussions that have been present in several of the songs, as well as production resources like the use of lots of ad-libs during their choruses that are mostly chants, or onomatopoeias. My problem is not even the way they've used mix-pop during this song, as I really enjoyed the hip-hop verse. They managed to blend it really well, keeping true to the original sound, and the phrasing is amazing, especially Chongbean's. However, the music identity they've been creating recently just sits far away from the sound with which I knew them. Of course, as artists this is part of their personal growth, and I'm glad they found the sound with which they feel happy and comfortable. However, I just haven't found cognate to this. I really admire their effort in producing their whole discography, as they're the main people involved unlike other groups, and I'm happy they're having the recognition they deserve for their effort. However, at least their title tracks, I feel like I've lost that intrigue of listening to them, as I can already make a quick sketch of the elements that will be present, and the overall sound that they'll be delivering. 7 out of 10.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Being an EDM pop-based track, as the title of it can already imply, this song expresses the excitement of living the moment, enjoying and dancing to the beat of the music. To be honest, I don't have much to say. This is a pretty solid track overall. It definitely maintains cohesion with their previous releases, but I don't know, I just felt kind of mild after listening to it. Like, it's nice, don't misunderstand me, the production is on point, the mixing is good, it keeps dynamicity, and the melody is somewhat captivating, with a pretty catchy chorus. However, at the same time it just sounds like something I've already heard before, like, it leaves me a weird feeling after it ends, as if I was waiting to still more to happen. And I think that the thing in here is that the song kind of contains itself. The song talks about jumping, pumping the tempo and getting the excitement of the music. However, I feel like the chorus needs more of that effusivity they express, like even during the whole song you can hear the chorus slowly building up, but I would have expected a lot more explosiveness since the first chorus in order to feel that excitement they're talking about. Even the tempo of the song, it's kind of like in between. I'd say it's rather slow if you compare it to their previous tracks, in which is way faster. Despite the MV also not being my favorite, as always I enjoyed the rap sections a lot and the pre-chorus led by Theo. All the boys have such unique flows and interesting voices that they always know how to make their parts engaging in order to keep you dragged to the song. Definitely not my favorite work from them, but still I can see myself enjoying the song cause, as I said, it's pretty solid overall, and despite some little details, it has a good production sung by amazing performers. 8 out of 10. I know I said this with Bite Me by enhypen, but this one is also honestly one of the hypest songs that could have ever existed. It's just that there's a pretty characteristic sound that you can expect from the company, is the way they bring back the synth-pop influence, the bass line on top, the vocal melody, and even the way they treat their voices, as well as the type of auto-tune they use, which in this case is more for stylistic purposes. That reminds a lot of groups like TXT, and songs like Thursday Child Has Gone Too Far. Like, I can actually hear them singing a song like this without any doubt. Even enhypen, it has a similar sound to the one they offered during their Tame-dashed era. I actually don't know the group that deeply to be able to talk about their sound, but for the reason previously mentioned, this feels like a manufactured song, not something unique but more like something meant for commercial purposes and that is safe for the company. This doesn't mean that it's a bad song. It is always enjoyable, a good dose of synth-pop when it's well worked and manages to bring something to the time of the year, in this case, summer. The thing in here is that similar to other releases in this list, this one, despite being clearly a summer song, it doesn't feel extremely cheerful or bright as you may expect of this season, but rather follows a more sentimental vibe. It makes the listener feel nostalgia, as if you were saying goodbye to the summer and just recapping the memories you did. The MV kind of offers the same idea, as at the end of it you can see how the only things that remain with them are the sweet memories of their loved one that have gone bitter because of the failure of it. The music video is absolutely beautiful. I love the way they use the grain filter to give this film look, cause it's just the right amount of it to get in the mood but not to disturb the sight. Also, the color grading is amazing. It really gives so much vividness and almost reality to the shots, which are also gorgeous. A known sound, well executed. Anything new, but everything was done in a correct way. 8.4 out of 10. Let's take a short break and review some releases in Speedrun.
Baby, finally, I feel like a man. We got the bombs. Wow, 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 wow. We jumping around. Look on me, you look sexy, my designer. Take up on you, you look sexy. 더 다니고 싶어 그럴 수. Say sweet, so delicious. 아주 right, cause so delicious. 더 need the love, I need the love, I need the love. 이제 돈스러워 아니나 you change my way. 지금부터 fry, 좀 더 spicy, 청양고추 fry. Every day of my life, 희떨이잖아 이유. I hate this, and I hate this. Think I'll never fall in love again. I don't wanna. 금가참 뜨겁게 burning, super duper 하게 더 running. 내일을 위한 I'm a 4, 5, 6 got you. 좀 더 격해져 sounds like yeah, hear me out, yeah. 괜찮아 뭐 어때? Workflow, just a game. Never big fights with a girl game. All of my ladies are fire.
Now let's get back to the video.
우리의 환호성. It's my time to go. 안심없이 달려 이유 지금.
Marking Ren's debut as a solo artist, this song stands as a breath of fresh air, offering a dance pop track accompanied by disco elements that go perfect for the summer season. I really enjoyed this song. It's quite simple with known elements, but I think it makes a perfect job in portraying Ren's personality, which I'm gonna talk later about that. This song does a perfect job at embracing the concept of rendezvous, as you can picture the perfect date with your loved one at the seashore while listening to this song. It brings this light-hearted and carefree feeling as if anything else mattered right now, and you were just focused on living the moment. The track functions perfectly as a presentation card for the rest of the album, as it bases mostly on pretty groovy tracks that portray the summery theme and the light feeling of going on a trip. Talking about the MV, unfortunately my thoughts aren't as good as the song. I feel like they got a little too excited while using the drone, cause half of the video was just drone shots, some of them really random as they just kept sweeping from one way to another without an actual direction behind. As well, despite the first set of looks going in the same direction as the song, the white fit felt kind of out. We're enjoying a summery light song and suddenly a wintry, rainy, and gray scenario appears, that really killed the cohesion that the MV was having. Overall it seemed like the music video wasn't directed properly, even the transitions made didn't seem planned previously as most of them were just the ones that come as default in any video edition program, thus it made the MV look cheap and not clean at all. Just like his fellow former group members and as I already said before, this release managed to embrace Ren's personality and charms, and that's exactly what I've liked until now about the members' sound. They've been able to show their colors, they haven't needed to adapt to what's trendy nowadays, but rather they've stayed true to the things and sound they want to express and that reflects their personalities the best, cause this song expresses perfectly Ren's carefree personality and manages to convey the liberty he mentioned during his conference press. I wanted to express freedom on stage as much as I sang the excitement and expectation of a new start. A song that I'll definitely have on my summer playlist on repeat. 8.6 out of 10.
We go hard. Hard like a criminal, hard like the beat, hard like my flow, 너도 원했니?
Merging their strong sound with the actual trends, SHINee has made their long-awaited comeback with a retro hip-hop-based track that expresses as much as I understood, an effusive encounter between two lovers. If that's the case, I'll leave my interpretation of the lyrics like this, no more comments. Production-wise I feel like they really respected the old-school hip-hop from the 90s, the percussion and drums used, are pretty typical of this genre as well as that high synth during the second part of the chorus which you can listen in songs like Who Am I by Snoop Dogg. At first, the chorus threw me off as I was expecting something more powerful, something explosive as what they presented during Don't Call Me. However, taking into account the hip-hop influence they had, it actually makes sense as lots of songs were characterized by these talked low-pitch choruses with repetitive lines, and the perfect example of this is Drop It Like It's Hot by Snoop Dogg.
it hard 또 너도 원했니
When the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot.
After a few listens I adapted to this shift in the chorus and I actually enjoyed it, but still I wish they'd had released all that tension in the last chorus. I think it would have enhanced the overall song and followed the hype created during the bridge. In fact, the energy kind of keeps on the same level throughout the whole song, and even the duration is short as many other songs nowadays, so more than a title track, it feels kind of like an introductory song to the album. Even the next song after it, Juice, kind of gives the same vibes as Don't Call Me. However, I still appreciate the song. Definitely is not the best in the album, but it still manages to deliver some interesting elements as the use of the piano mixed with the hip-hop influence. The piano interventions give the whole composition almost a theatrical character. It's like those old silent movies in which the instruments were the ones which helped emphasize the mood of the atmosphere. Whether it was playful or a scene full of action, the piano was one of the main resources for expressing certain feelings. Thus this time I think it helps to build the tension in certain moments, such as in the transition to the pre-chorus in which it helps go from the very dry verses to a pre-chorus in which there are introduced more synths and overall it feels bigger. I really enjoyed the use of the piano. It feels really dramatic, but it's actually really interesting how this histrionic sound managed to coexist with the hip-hop sections in the same song. And of course, as always, their album is amazing, offering a variety of genres and trendy sounds that plus a flawless production, give them this chic and expensive sound. As I listen to this more and more, it just becomes more addicting. As always, SM does an amazing work production-wise, and manage to keep their group relevant by creating interesting and intricate proposes. 8.5 out of 10. After presenting us a darker side of her during her last comeback a few months ago, this time it seems like she's come back to the typical pop rock sound we've heard since she debuted as a soloist. Let me take a moment to talk about her pre-release song, Wicked Love. During my last review, I talked about how YENA's sound could turn a little like Wood's, a mix of R&B with pop rock. This song managed to convey the sultry vibes of her past comeback with the pop rock sound I just mentioned. It definitely doesn't have the impact of a title track. However, I can see the attempt of trying to mix the genres and the concepts in order to build a musical identity, showing us this less playful vibe. So having said that, the actual title track goes into the opposite side of the pre-release, and before diving into the controversy, let's talk about the song itself. As I've also mentioned before, I'm not the biggest fan of the pop rock wagon in K-pop, but I can see myself enjoying this song. Compared to her debut, this certainly feels friskier. It's as lively as Smartphone. But my problem with that song is that it felt a little bit cheesy. Some melodies were almost like childish chants, but this time it kind of feels more youthful. It reminds me of a song starred in one of those teenagers' Disney movies like Freaky Friday. The melody during the chorus even sort of evokes certain nostalgia, and even that saddening feeling that the lyrics talk about, the desperation of wanting to be someone else. However, I found it a bit hard to get the message of the lyrics. Is it becoming like the idol you admire but denying it because you're shy? Or is it about hating your idol for how perfect it is? Although that hate is more of like a joke cause you just can't believe a person like that exists. Going through some articles, it kind of falls into my second supposition, expressing in her press showcase. Depicts the jealousy toward her wannabe and role model, in an unhateful YENA way. Uses contradicting words to amplify the love and yearning toward that person. However, I'm just not completely satisfied with the lyrics. They do express this immatureness, but I feel like the contradicting words to amplify the love didn't function at all. The lyrics go all over the place, making it a little difficult to get the actual intention behind, as they go from lyrics like, "You are my star," to, "I'm not jealous, Rodrigo." Maybe this was part of the actual concept, trying to portray the indecision of a teenager when having an idol as inspiration that makes him want to look like him, but at the same time, they have this jealousy feeling as they cannot actually become that person. I don't see this as a diss to Olivia Rodrigo in any sense. The lyrics overall are just a little bit hard to understand, to be honest. However, as I mentioned, the song is pretty enjoyable and contributes to YENA's musical identity. 8.2 out of 10. This is one of those songs that despite not having that much material to talk about, I still want to do it, so yeah. I find that this song may not be for all tastes, but it is definitely meant for the R&B lovers like me. I was surprised to hear the grooviness of it from the very first moment, even before the first verse. This initial segment is actually the chorus that will be repeated throughout the song, and I truly love the way it was produced. While the verses are mostly guided just by his voice and the bass line, while you approach the chorus harmonies start to be included until you actually get to it and the different vocal layers wrap the listener's ears as it's nice to listen how his lighter voice and the breathier and deeper one coexist. The bass line also gets noticeable louder and the overall scene feels fuller thanks to this elements. The flow maintains nice during the whole song. If you were expecting this to be a typical K-pop song it may be underwhelming, but as an R&B track, I just feel like it was pretty well executed. His tone really gets along with the overall mood, and the chill vibe is kept without abrupt changes that can disturb the experience. Even the little rap section during the second verse manages to keep the pace of the song without it feeling forced or out of place. The MV is nice and the looks suit the vibe of the song, but there's not much to outstand about it. However, the overall track suits the time of the year as it feels coherent not just to his personal sound, but also to what other idols have been presenting with subdued summer songs that go well with a more chill ambient. 8.3 out of 10. Time for some B-sides highlights.
I just wanna be by you, yeah, by you. No 앞다운 말 두렵지 않아 우린. 난 늦춰, 붙어, 다가온 내 그저, 슬쩍, bring it in. You feel alone, 기억해 내가 곁에 있어. 특히 약간 이런 시다리 데도 아닐 수 있겠어. 순간은 여전히 더 선명하게 Let all the eyes on me 다리로 제끼고 홀로그램이 now 어둠이 더 짙어지기 That's right, that's right. No, that's right. 천냥색 색색칠해. 놀아. 그래 인finity. I'm gonna make it. Your love makes my heart flutter. 자꾸 사랑이 스럽게. 10 times again and 10 times again and 10 times again.
So that was it for the video. Let me know in the comments which was your favorite release of the month. As always I'll be happy to read you. Bye.
can make it, I like it,